Yeah, so I think basically there's moments in everybody's life where opportunities come in front of you, and it doesn't always happen very often, where you've got a chance to be involved in something that actually might and very well may create proper change, real change. Like, really, when you think about it comparatively, the world that I normally sort of work and exist in is the entertainment world. That's all kind of about fun. It's very important. There's lots of jobs and everything. It's a great industry, but it's about fun. It's a kind of, there's a luxury element to it. But the issue that we're here today talking about is very serious and very important. And so when an opportunity comes by, I personally just can never let those kind of opportunities pass, where you actually have a possibly you can really help somebody or more than somebody. And there's hundreds or thousands, and in the future, you're talking about so many people. Surrogacy is on the rise, and of course, the final part of it and the biggest part for me is that I'm a dad, and this directly affects my child and my family. And so, of course, that's the main reason, but also it's an opportunity that I can't let pass me to actually maybe contribute in some small way to helping something very important to change, and change is a really important thing in every country. And as a country, we're so proud of our culture and our history, but also you always have to create a new history, and sort of change is vital and crucial in the storyline of any nation. You have to grow and move with the times. And the thing about this is, and it's not sort of like a shouting and screaming, like, do this now, demand. Like, I actually genuinely believe that the government are going to do the right thing about it. But it's just something that I had to step up. Like, throughout my life, I could have done this for myself, but we don't tend to step up and step in when it's about ourselves, sort of like you don't mind certain things happening to you, even though you should. But when it comes to your child, all of a sudden I'm on the news talking about politics, like, I mean, that's the furthest thing that I ever would have done. It's really not something that I historically would have done. But the second it involves my child and her welfare, I am, on the news. But it's something that I didn't even think twice about, because I'll do anything for my child, as any parent would. And that's basically what it's all about. It's all about parents taking care of and minding their children. And in order to be able to do that 100%, and every parent wants to be there 100% for their child, we have to all be legally covered, and that's what this is all about. It's quite a simple thing, really. And it's just a law that was written in a time that, in another time, and now things have moved on. There's so many different things, that are changing, and technology is always something that creates a lot of change, and science, and, surrogacy and IVF is so common and popular now, and it's going to just become more and more popular and common. And it's just that the laws have to change with the times, and if they don't, what starts to happen is people get left on the sidelines. And obviously, I don't think anybody in the country or the government wants to leave a child on the sideline, not one child, not 10, not 100, not 1,000, So, I mean, for me, the opportunity to just be involved in it is, it's a no-brainer.
I mean, it's interesting, you're zooming from your home, and obviously there's a birthday, and a significant one in your family.
I always have pink balloons in the kitchen every day. Yeah, well, it's weird that this interview has happened today, because, this weekend marks Layla's second birthday. Layla is my daughter. And, there's so, and, once again, the entertainment world and everything can be quite fickle. And a lot of the time on TV, it's all about, material things and cars and houses and stuff like that. But today's Layla's birthday, and to be able to do this interview and talk about this today, I couldn't think of a better present to give her. And I think that in the future, I do, like, because I'm very wary all the time of talking about her in public and posting things about her and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think she will understand in the future that what I'm doing and why I'm talking is because I'm trying to do what any parent would, and kind of pave the way as best I can for my kid, and create just a tiny bit of a better place for her to grow up in,
Yeah. And did you Did you know about the constraints, the legal constraints, before you got into surrogacy?
No, I mean, I really didn't think about any of that until we were well down the line, you know. Now, I spoke to a solicitor in Dublin before, let's say, the pregnancy happened, just because I was like, oh, I need to make sure that I'm prepared for everything. But I had no idea of, what was to come. And I also, more than anything, I had no idea that no matter how much preparation I do, when we took our child back to Ireland, that unfortunately the laws looked at our family and us differently than they would to most other families. And yeah, there was definitely sort of a little bit of a moment of my heart sinking. But I think a lot of the time the law maybe is catching up with the changes in culture and society. And so once again, it's not like somebody's gone and made a law up intentionally to leave us out, or to leave families like us out.
Has it been difficult then for you? Like, did you have to weigh this up and go, will I talk about this? Or, because it does mean you putting yourself in the spotlight.
So from the point Layla was born, I was very, very careful, like there was no kind of pictures of her face. And I really had decided that, actually, I don't think I'm going to put Layla anywhere, post anything about her or, her face and stuff like that. And then part of me, and the truth is, part of me inside was like, well, hang on, I don't want it. At the same time, I don't want to look like I'm kind of hiding something, and there's a strange sense of that as well. And so I kind of gradually came around to the idea that, an occasional post here and there is fine. But then I was speaking to a couple of people who are involved in, more kind of, I suppose, political sort of based conversations. And I slowly came to realize that visibility of families like us is quite important, because until people can see families that have been created through surrogacy and kids who have come through surrogacy, it's just this thing that happens over in America and over in the Ukraine, and there's no kind of face to it, and it's just like doctors in white coats and laboratories and stuff like that. When actually that's not really what it is. It's just families, it's just parents and their children. And I thought, actually, if I do become a bit more visible with it as a family, as a dad and as a father, and a family that are sort of created through surrogacy, then I can help to normalize it a little bit more, And so once again, there's so much, like, anybody will know that I don't really do a lot of publicity based stuff, you know what I mean? I kind of love sticking to the music and singing and then leaving it at that. I don't think of myself like a celebrity when I wake up in the morning. And so I'd be reluctant to do stuff like that. But as I said, there's certain things that will come along, like this topic, where it's just second nature for me to get up. And I don't mind being on a TV show, or I don't mind talking about it or doing an interview, because it's something you're talking about real people, you're talking about real people's welfare, you're talking about the welfare of kids and families across the country. And so it's kind of, I just feel like it's my duty as part of society to just do my bit, however small or big that is. I'm not saying I'm able to affect massive change, but even if a few more people know about this than they did before I started to talk about it, then that's the job done for me.
For people who still may be unaware of what is this legislation going through the door, do you know what I mean? Like, what exactly is Mark, looking for?
Well, so yeah, I mean, a lot, like, I have even seen some comments underneath a couple of posts that I've done recently asking what is it exactly you're looking for, and that's why I kind of want to create a bit of conversation around the topic so that people can go, oh, so that's what it's about, see, understandably, people think, oh, it's just so that they can kind of get their two names on the birth cert, as parents and stuff, which that's all fine. And that is kind of quite symbolic, but that's not really the important bit. The important bit is there's various different reasons why it's so important for this legislation to change. The first thing is, having heard about, there's a doctor that was speaking to a friend of mine who was explaining that the medical implications of the current status of the legislation, hypothetically speaking, you could end up in some very, very dark, murky waters if you sort of were unlucky enough, you know. It's really important in say emergency surgery situations for children that the parent has the ability to sign a consent form for a surgery to be done, you know. So you can only imagine the drastic things that might happen if the parent that wasn't down as a guardian was there in the hospital holding a baby that needed to be operated. Now, it's hypothetical, but nonetheless, that's what the law says right now, you know. There's also other stuff. I mean, for couples in our position, even something like bringing your child, like everybody does, in to get their jobs, and then you're worried, oh, hang on now, well, if so-and-so's name isn't down as a parent, are they going to turn me away in front of everybody in the waiting room? That's a very stressful thing. And there's lots of stuff like that in everyday life that people in our position, especially the parent who's sort of left out by the law, they'll be constantly worrying about that. And it actually, you know, they're genuinely, a friend of mine, Annette Hickey, who you've spoken to, you know, she was talking to a psychologist, and, you know, the psychology of it and the stress of constantly waking up and going to sleep, knowing that you're not officially a child's legal guardian. That's, you know, everybody knows that parenting has its challenges and it's not the easiest thing in the world already. So to have all that extra stuff to worry about and stress about, it's just very unhelpful. And the fact is, I don't think the government or anybody in the country has a problem with it changing. It's just that we have to go through the process of changing it. And so, without sort of sounding like, you know, demand and stuff, like, but it really does just need to happen as a matter of urgency, because until it does, there's hundreds or thousands of children and families all over the country that are in a compromised position, you know. So it's kind of just like, look, lads, we need to just get this done and across the line so we can all move on. You want it, we want it. And, you know, can we just please get it across the line as soon as possible, you know? And the most important part is that the new legislation really has to include every single family, you know. Of course, there's lots of different layers to it, like families, the retrospective side of it, you know, any child that's been born pre the new legislation, and also surrogacies that happen, or children that were born outside Ireland, they all have to be included, because, you know, you can't leave out one single child in this. And so yeah, like, you know, look, I'm not the expert on it. I'm kind of just here to sort of try and get a bit more attention onto the fact, and then the experts can do the talking. But I'm just, as you can see, I'm quite passionate about it because it involves my family and involves my child. So of course I am.